Dun, 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 dun. No, I'm not doing it. Look at it. Hello, welcome to Golden Hour Knitwear. My name is Camry, and this is episode number 9. It's been a funky couple weeks. My knitting mojo? I don't know. A lot of people have been calling it mojo. So I guess I'll call it mojo. My knitting mojo has been all sorts of wonky the last couple weeks. Because I'm like super excited to knit my sweaters, but then when it comes time to knit my sweaters, like when I have time to actually sit down and knit, I'm like, nah, that's too complicated. I'm just gonna work on this sock or this hat or this blanket or whatever. And then it's just been weird. This week has been very different than I thought it was gonna be with my knitting. And I think it's because I was sick and my daughter was sick and my husband was sick, all like in the middle of this chunk of time since the last episode. And we just felt like garbage. And I dyed a lot of yarn and just had a lot of fun with a lot of stuff. And just so, yeah, I just needed some easy knitting. But it's back as of last night. I'm like so excited to work on my sweaters. I got a lot of work on something last night and I'm excited to show you some things. So let's get into it. There's not really much else to share besides that, but let's start with what I'm wearing. It's not a finished object for this episode. You've seen it before. This is the Wren sweater by Kirby McDonald at Macrafts. I absolutely love this sweater. I wear it way too much. I just need to make another one. Every time I wear it, my husband's like, that's such a good sweater. You need to make me one. I love the way it fits. I love the color. I love the texture. I love the pattern. It's so comfy. I just wear it all the time. And it's getting colder and colder, so I need to wear it all the time. It's okay, right? But yes, that is what I'm wearing. I absolutely love it. But let's jump into finished objects. I just have a couple little socks to show you. So first, dun, 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 I finally finished a pair of socks. Guys, I have been so second sock syndrome-y lately. Like, starting so many pairs but not knitting the second of the pair, and just so excited to move on to the second sock or to a different pattern that I don't knit the second sock. That's a problem. And I hate knitting socks 2 at a time, so that doesn't solve the problem. But I am so glad to have these. I was getting sick of wearing the same knitted socks again and again. I wanted like a new fresh look on my feet. And I guess I do have like a light green pair of socks, but these are the spunkiest colored pair of socks that I have. And I love the colors. I think the orange and the blue go really, really well together. And I love just the way it looks dyed. I think it looks super fun. It's the dark blue and the light purple. Every now and then you get a little dark blue speckle. It's super fun. I love these. And the yarn is super soft. I'm glad that I have these. I'm glad they're done. They're good. They're good ones. This was from the August yarn, the August Sock Set Club colorway. It's blueberry picking. So the main skein is blueberries, and then the orange is inspired from the bucket that we got to put our blueberries in when my family and I went blueberry picking over the summer. So these are super fun. Again, I love them. I'm so glad they're done. Now I get to just wear them all the time and finish more socks so that I can wear more socks. Next is a sock for my husband, not for me. And this is the largest sock that I've ever knit. Like the tallest leg and the largest foot and the 72 stitches. So it feels like it's taking me forever. But it's enjoyable. I love the way it's knitting up. It's fun to watch it knit up. When the yarn, because this was like my first speckled dye ever. I was just messing around forever ago and I dyed this up and I thought it looked ugly. I didn't think it looked very good. And my husband and I were both like, it's okay. They can just be ugly socks and it's fine. They'll just keep his feet warm and it's fine if they're ugly. I dyed more yarn red to have the contrast color and I think it helped so much. It looks so good. He's tried them on, this one on, the other one's not finished. He's tried it on, he loves it, it fits great. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't have a large size sock blocker, so this might not get like a true sock block. I'm probably just gonna soak it and then kind of stretch it out so that the ribbing kind of does what it's got to do, stretched out, you know, and lay it out flat to dry. Because I don't want to go buy a large sock blocker right now. So we'll see. Here's the second of the pair. I just finished the leg. I just need to start the heel. I just need to start the heel now. So I'm excited to do that and to watch it come together. That's like the most exciting part of socks, right? Knitting the heel and then adding on to the gusset and the heel turn, the gusset, and then decreasing and watching the foot just come together. So magical, so fun. So I'm excited to do that. But we'll see if it gets done. I'm so excited to work on so many other things. But it's getting colder and my husband is so excited for these socks. Every time he sees me working on them, it's my car knitting. So anytime we're in the car and I'm working on them, he's like, oh, you're working on my socks. Thank you. So he's excited for them. His feet have been cold. So I need to get them done. Okay, now we are ready for whips. If you haven't seen, and if you have seen, here's another reminder. We are hosting a knit along. It's the Essential Beanie knit along, TheEssentialBeanieKAL, with Andrea Gaughan over at Andrea Gaughan Knits. She's here on YouTube and she's over on Instagram as well. So I'll link her profiles and stuff down in the description so you can find her easily. The pattern is her pattern. She designed it. It just came out like a month ago, a couple weeks ago. And so we're doing a knit along with it and it's super fun, super exciting. It's going until November 5th. So you still have a couple weeks to work on your beanie if you want to join. And there will be prizes. So in order to enter for prizes, all you have to do is post on Instagram a photo of your work in progress or finished beanie with the hashtag TheEssentialBeanieKAL and tag both me and Andrea so that we can see it. And make sure that you're entered to win. And do this by November 5th. For this knit along, we are encouraging you to use stash yarn or scrap yarn, holding a bunch of yarns together. The pattern has a lot of really great information and charts and stuff to help you figure out how, like what weight yarn you have by holding a lot of different strands of yarn together, if that makes sense. Well, 2 strands of yarn, but you can figure it out from there. So I have held 4 different strands of yarn together here and knit this tiny little beanie. I didn't gauge swatch, which is really stupid of me because I have 4 different yarns and I have no idea what the gauge of those 4 different yarns together are. So I should have gauge swatched, but I don't have a lot of yarn. So I was scared to knit a gauge swatch and then have to rip it up with mohair and the 4 yarns. It was stupid. But I had good reason. It was still stupid. You should always gauge swatch. It does still fit my daughter. This is a hat for my daughter, and it's done. I just need to bind it off. I have a little bit of yarn left, so I thought about ripping out the decreases, knitting a little bit more, and then decreasing again. But I haven't cared to do that lately. So this does fit my daughter. It looks tiny. It hasn't been blocked. It'll grow once it's blocked. It'll be, actually, that's actually not a terrible size. It's not going to fit on my head. But isn't that so fun? It's 4 strands held together, which is super fun. It's Malabrigo's the worsted weight. Aquas, I think, is the colorway name. And then there's 1 strand of, which is 100% superwash, I think, merino wool. And then there's 1 like fingering weight, light fingering weight-ish strand of acrylic yarn in there from Loops and Threads that I bought forever ago. And that's the white one. And then the pink is lace weight, 100% Surrey or some kind of alpaca, I can't remember. And it's super soft I think it's from Rowan. And then there's a mohair in there that I dyed forever and just had scraps from. So this beanie is so soft. That's another reason that I cast it on without knitting a swatch, because I was just so excited. Because it looks so fun. Sorry, I still have ends to weave in. It's not totally done. It's so soft and it turned out so fun. Look at this. So I knitted this thing in like a week. Is it focused? Yeah. I knitted this thing in like a week because it was just so much fun. It's so soft. It's so fun to watch it knit up. I love it. Like, I kind of want one for me. I might need to go buy all these yarns again just so that I can make myself one. But it does fit my daughter. It's a little tight. It might suit better for like the next kiddo down the road, but we'll see. I think we could still squeeze it on her head, but I think my gauge is a little, I haven't checked my gauge because I haven't blocked it, but I think my gauge is a little bit small because this is a child size, which is supposed to fit my daughter like easily for the next few years because my daughter is 2 and the child size is for children, not babies and toddlers, not necessarily, right? I mean, it's ribbed. I mean, it can fit anyone with negative ease, squishiness, stretchiness, I mean. So it should have fit my daughter really well, but my gauge is small, so it's a little tight on her, which is fine because it's cute and it still fits, so it's fine. But yes, this is so much fun. I'm so glad that I'm doing this because I'm glad that I'm getting the scraps out of my stash. I don't know what else these things could have become together, but together, I never would have thought to put them together into one thing. But it's a cute little beanie for my daughter, and I love it so much. So I'm glad that I did that. For the knit along, I am also spinning up yarn for my first hand-spun knit project, if that makes sense. So I've been spinning on a drop spindle for the last couple months, and I went to a fiber festival like a month-ish ago or something, and spun on somebody's spinning wheel. It was so much fun. And I like want a spinning wheel now. And so I'm making myself knit a project with my hand spun yarn before I go out and buy a spindle. Because spinning is fun, but I don't like to just have stuff sitting around. So if I'm going to spin a bunch of yarn and do nothing with it, I mean, sure, that's fun, but like, what am I going to do with it? So I've been spinning up this, the tag said it was superwash yarn with nylon in it, a superwash nylon blend. And look at those colors. Look how fun that is. It's so soft. It's so fun. I died when I saw this in the store and I had to get some. And so I did. And I'm spinning it up. This is about half of it. It's not going to be enough. I need to go buy more. I don't quite know how to spin enough yarn or how much fiber to buy for a project because I thought I had 100 grams of, I do have 100 grams of fiber, which should be enough for the beanie. But I can count how many yards I have now that it's on the Knitty Naughty, and it's not going to be enough. Unless somehow this is much less than half. So we'll see. I'll probably have to go buy more, which is fine because it's at a local yarn shop. Hopefully they still have some. But I'm just going to keep it single ply just because I think it's so much fun to see the character just by itself. And I love the way it's spun up. Hopefully you can see what's going on. So you can see there was tons of color in the roving, the unspun fiber, but when it's spun up, it kind of just turns into this moody purple-ish, reddish, brownish with little bits of light green, blue, and yellow. Like, it's so fun to just see the way it spun up. It's such an interesting yarn, and I just want like a whole sweater out of this because it's super soft, and I love it. I love it so much. So I'm super excited to have a beanie out of this. I haven't spun in a while. I finished this half in about a week, I think. And I think we're about halfway through the knit along right now. And so I think I finished this in a week. I'll probably, if I work at it, I'll get that other ball spun up in about a week. And then I need to go get more. But I need to get this soaking in some water. I need to thwack it, do all the stuff, let it dry, and knit it up. But I'm scared to do that because I need all my yarn to be the same thickness. And I don't know if that's going to change once I like soak it and stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to soak it until it's completely all done. And it's not the most consistent spin. Some of it's thicker, some of it's thinner, but it's pretty decent for only having spun for a couple months. So I think I'm doing pretty good with my spinning. My goal with this, besides obviously just keeping it consistent as I can, and besides spinning enough to actually knit a project, was to not spin it too tight because I think I've been spinning yarn too tight and it's just very coarse when it's spun super tight. So I don't really know. These are all different fibers. I need to test it with all the same fiber, like do a super tight spin and do a looser spin. But I love the way this turned out. I think it's amazing. It's so soft. I love it. I need to keep spinning it. I'm glad that I pulled that out to show you because now I'm more motivated to keep going with it. But to be continued. We will see how that goes. Okay, like I said at the beginning, I lost my sweater knitting mojo for a little bit there. I worked on that beanie, the spinning, those socks. Like I was getting those things done, and I didn't really care to knit. I mean, I did care to knit, but I was sick and I didn't want to work on sweaters. So I was hoping to have this project finished by today, before this episode. But I didn't. So I finished one of the sleeves and I put it on and I love the way it fit and looked and stuff. This is my April cardigan by Petite Knit. And I love the way it looked and I love the way it felt. I love the yarn. It's so cozy and comfy. And so then I knit the other sleeve in like a day and it was all great. So I have the whole thing done except for the button band. So I finished it up. I kind of forced myself to work on it and finish it up. And then I got to the button band and I read the instruction. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't feel good. I'm not going to pick up a billion stitches all the way around and kind of try to figure out where to put my buttons. I just didn't want to do that. So I still need to put the button band on. But I'm excited to have this done because I can see it with just a nice plain pair of jeans and a white t-shirt and this fun cardigan on, and I just want it done so that I can wear it. I mean, I guess I can technically wear it now around the house, but I just want it done because I want more sweaters to wear because it is getting cold and I need to add more to my Wren sweater for this year. But there it is, the April cardigan. I'm excited to see how the button band transforms this because at the moment the body feels a little tight, seems a little tight, but I'm also used to knitting a lot of positive ease right now. And the April cardigan does not have as much positive ease as many other things that I have been knitting. So that's to be expected. But the button band will add, you know, a good amount to the body. So there it is. I'm super excited about this. I just can't get over how much I love this yarn. So much fun. I love how when I'm finished showing you something, I just throw it off to the side and then I just have a big mess of projects not in their project bags. So I'm cleaning up right now. Okay, I'm so excited to show you this one. I finished the body on my colorwork sweater that I am self-drafting. I'm just winging it as I go. And I'm super excited about it. So let me kind of share a little bit before I show you. I know I'm teasing you, I guess. So I knit part of the way through the color work and I was like, that's a decent length. I mean, it's a worsted weight sweater. I don't know if and it's color work, so it's extra thick. I don't know if I want to tuck it in. I think I want it a little bit cropped and I want thick ribbing. So I'll stop the color work here and I'll do my hem. And so I did that like 2 weeks ago and I put it on holders because I didn't want to bind off and then decide I didn't like it and rip it out. So I put it on scrap yarn and I tried it on and I was like, something's not right. The proportions aren't right. The length of the sweater is kind of fun, but the color work, it was like half color work, half yoke, it felt like, and it just needed to be like a third of the top part. Like this top part that's black needed to be like a third of the body, and then the color work needed to be like 2/3 just to balance things out a little bit better. Because if you don't know, it's funny because we don't really like things to be half and half as humans. We kind of like things to be a third and 2/3 when it comes to art and things in general. We don't love things to be totally asymmetrical most of the time. If you think about music or books, a lot of the time you're listening to music and the climax of the song happens, or the piece, if you're talking instrumental music, happens in like the 2/3 part of the song instead of the middle of the song. And when you're reading books, the most important, the most exciting, most thrilling part of the book isn't smack dab in the middle. it's when you have 20 pages left of the book and you're dying wondering how they're going to resolve all of that at the end, right? So we don't love things to be paste or drawn or painted. Like, we don't love our art to be exactly half and half. We tend to like it to be 2/3, a third, or 1/3, 2/3, or whatever, right? We like our thirds. So I'm glad that I have my degree in music and I know that. And because it encouraged me to be okay with ripping out the hem and adding more color work to my sweater, because look at it. I love it so much. I got it back up so you can see the full thing. I need to add the sleeves, obviously, but look how fun it is. I'm so glad. So this is where I stopped it. I stopped it after these, this black and yellow part. And I had my hem like here. So I added a good few inches. And I'm so glad I did, because I love the motifs that I added. This one right here and this one right here. And it looks so good. I'm so excited to knit the sleeves and just be done with it. On this sweater, this is the same yarn. I don't know if it's the same gauge, actually. I can't remember what the gauge on this one is. But this sweater, I knit the sleeve, each sleeve in like 3-4 hours. And so this one, I think I can get a sleeve in a day if I'm fast, like if I really work on it. Though it is color work, which does take more time, but I'm getting quicker at color work, at stranded color work. So we'll see what happens. I'm super excited. I also do need to figure out the math, because I want the color work. So I want to do German short rows here so that the color work lands flat with the rest of the body. So that's the plan. I need to figure out how that's going to work and make sure that I do that all correctly so that the German short rows look good and that everything lines up well. But once we get it figured out on the first sleeve, bam, we're set. I also need to figure out decreases on the arms. So on the body, the color work is totally continuous. There's no like sudden stops in any of the motifs before the beginning of the round. On the arms, that might be a different story, because I don't know how many stitches I'm gonna have around the sleeves yet. And when I do, I might have to cut some of the motifs in half at the end of the round and then start again at the beginning of the round. And I don't know how I feel about that. Though it really doesn't matter, because you're not really gonna notice for the most part, right? And a lot of these motifs are super simple. Most of them are 2 repeat or 5 stitch repeats. This one is like a 30 stitch repeat or something, 37 or something like that stitch repeat. But I think I'll just have to figure it out with the arm. The arm, figuring out the color work on the arms will take some thinking. And then the decreases, usually on a sweater, you have more stitches up here than you have down here, and you decrease along. And I need to figure out, do I want to decrease through the color work? I just need to kind of troubleshoot through some of those things. But first things first, I need to get to the color work. So I need to do those German short rows, get to where I want to start the color work, and then go from there and see how many stitches I have on the needle, see how many stitches I want to have at the end of my needle. Maybe I want it to be a balloon sleeve, so I just knit a straight arm, don't do a ton of decreases, and just have a balloon sleeve kind of sort of where it's puffy, and then we have the fitted cuff. So we'll see. I'll figure it out. Hopefully this is done next time I talk to you guys, because I love this and I'm excited to wear it. It's a good, chunky, oversized sweater, and it's cold. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it. All this yarn is yarn that I dyed. The black yarn is the Full Moon Night, Full Moon Sky. I can't even remember the October colorway of the month. You can still purchase that on my shop. And then the rest of the yarn is just yarn that I had in my stash that I dyed for this project. And I love the way it all turned out. I was a little worried about the dark blue and the black, but I think it adds something. I just love it. I think it turned out great. I love all these motifs. I'm thinking about naming this the Sunset Sweater, because for one, this kind of looks like a sunset. And I'm Golden Hour Knitwear, and that's the sun, because the golden hour is when the sun is setting, around 7-ish o'clock though this time of year it's not 7 o'clock. It's over the summer, it's around 7 o'clock. When the sun is setting and the world is just like glowing because the sun is setting and it's just so gorgeous outside. And so I figured this kind of looks like a sunset, and so this could be a sunset sweater. And if I write up a pattern and release it for this sweater, I'm planning to put a bunch of motifs in there so everybody can make the sweater their own. So you can still, I mean, if you choose, you can do this exact motif, pattern, color work design, or you can choose from a bunch of different motifs in the pattern and plug and play and make it your own. So just like no sunset is the same, no sunset sweater will be the same. So that's what I'm thinking for this. I think I love the name. So that's what I'm thinking. I love this. I'm so excited about it. I forgot to show you this. So I haven't had the neck on here until this episode. Past episodes haven't had the neckline on there. So I haven't been able to show you because it's so close to the top and it curls and stockinette so you can't see. But there's like a sneaky little color work on there. Is it focused? But so I think that was a fun little touch that I added, and I'm happy that I did that because it's fun. So there's the back, and it'll block out hopefully. If not, it's super easy to pick up a different amount of stitches for the neckline. But I love it. I need to stop looking at it. Hopefully I get time tonight to pick up stitches for the sleeves and get working on them. Okay, the other sweater that I am making up as I go, I ripped it out. And I haven't restarted it yet. It was a lot to rip out because it's yarn held double. And it's striped too. So like, I can't just rip it out and keep it in the ball because the stripes are gonna sit differently if I have a different gauge or if I have a different stitch count or whatever. So I had to rip it out and separate the yarn held double. Is kind of a pain. So that's all that I had the energy on that pattern for this week. But I'm excited to recast that one on because the yarn is so soft. I love the colors. I'm just excited to work on it. So I'm excited to cast that one on and get going on it. I'm planning on having the body pretty cropped and then having a really long split hem. And so I think that one will fly because the body isn't going to take a lot of knitting and it's a relatively large gauge. So I'm excited to knit that one. I think it's going to fly. Stripes tend to fly because you're like, get to the next stripe, get to the next stripe, get to the next stripe. So I'm excited for that one. I'm excited to have it and to show you next time. I've also made a little bit of progress on my Minou cardigan. And as I've said in the past, this project is kind of just an extra little friend on the side, I guess, that I'm working on to keep me happy while I'm working on other projects, because I'm super excited about the sweaters that I'm just making up as I go. And so those are getting most of my energy, but when I need a break from making things up as I go, this is the one that I've got. So I just love this pattern so much. Isn't it gorgeous? This is the Minou cardigan by Luisa over at Knitting Deer. I just love it. This is the back part of the sweater. Or the cardigan. I'm so excited to finish this. I need to work on it more. But I have other sweaters at the top of my priority. I have a lot of sweaters in my brain that I just want to create. And I want them done soon. So we'll see if I even touch this week because I have a lot of other things that I want to get going on. This yarn is from one of my local yarn stores. It is not 100. It's 50% alpaca, 50% merino. And it doesn't feel super soft right now. But I do have a swatch that has been washed and blocked, and it's pretty soft. So I'm excited to finish this and wash it and see what happens and see how it transforms with blocking, because for one, this stitch pattern grows a lot because it is half fisherman's rib and cables. So I'm excited to watch it grow, and I'm excited to watch the yarn plump up and soften because I can feel a lot of spinning oil in here. It's a cone, and there's even some vegetation matter, is that what we call it? Still like spun into the yarn. It's locally grown and spun, which is super fun and exciting, but I'm just excited to watch it transform when I block it, which is going to be forever from now because this project might take me until like February. I don't know if it'll take that long, but this might take me a while because it's not my top priority, though I love it a ton. There it is again. Okay, this next project I have in my daughter's little Easter basket from last year, but I showed this yarn that I dyed. I think I showed it last time. This is a little 5 skein mini skein set that is super cute that I dyed. I dyed 2 of them and I kept one for myself because I absolutely love it. It's called the Autumn Bouquet because it looks like an autumn bouquet. And I've been seeing all the mums, the autumn colored mums out lately that are like this rusty color and this yellow, golden yellow color. And I just love them so much. And so this is called the Autumn Bouquet sock set or mini skein set. And so I started knitting a sock with it for mine. And it's the Halfsies sock. And it knits so flippin' fast, guys. This sock is so much fun to knit. It is like the most genius construction ever. So it's knit flat and then seamed up because it's intarsia, which this is my first time doing intarsia, where you knit with one color. It's curled up because it's stockinette. You knit with one color all the way across, and then you just grab the other color and you twist the 2 strands, and then you knit across the other side, and then you come back this way on the wrong side, you twist your strands so that they hold together, and then you knit across the side, and you're knitting back and forth. And so it's not like color work. It's not like I'm holding my yarn across. I am twisting yarn and holding yarn, and it's crazy. Anyways, this yarn is fingering weight yarn. I'm holding it double to get these socks. I should have enough yarn to get the socks. I did do them kind of short because I was worried that I wouldn't have enough. This is the DK weight version of the Halfsies sock. There's also a fingering weight version, but this one is just the DK weight version. I will have enough yarn for the body of the socks. Look how fun that is. I love it so much. I just got distracted. I saw it in the camera and look how fun. I love it. I love it so much. The only thing that's concerning is I weighed my green yarn after doing the heel and the toe, and I'm exactly halfway through this little skein, this little ball of yarn, and I haven't done the cuff yet. So I'm a little concerned about the next sock because I wanted them to match. But we'll see. I need to seam up this side of the sock, and then I'll do the other sock. I'll do the other sock, we'll see where we're at, and then I'll probably have to pick a different color for the cuff of the sock up here, which is okay. I can pick any one of these colors. I can hold some of these colors together because remember I'm holding it double, or I can pick a totally different color, which would be fun too. So we'll see. This is so much fun. It knit up so fast. It's the DK weight sock. It's such soft yarn. It's squishy, it's thick, it's cozy, it's fun colors. I don't think I've said this before, but growing up, like middle school, I was such a crazy sock person. My sock drawer was like overflowing with mismatched socks and neon colors and crazy, just all the socks. Toe socks, fuzzy toe socks. It was a lot. And so these are bringing me back to that, and it's just so much fun. I will definitely have to make more of these because it's a great way to use scraps, and they're such a quick knit. They're so much fun. It's very different than your normal sock knitting, and so it's fun to change things up but still get a sock out of it. So these have been a lot of fun. I can't really show you what it's going to look like. I wanted to wait to seam it up. Okay, for one, I was too lazy to seam it up. But for two, I wanted to show you the construction that it's knit flat. And here's what it's looking. Look! Here's what it's looking like. Isn't that so much fun? For the other sock, I might swap. I might do these 2 colors up top and these 2 colors on the bottom. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Because I thought I would love this the most because I love yellow. And then this one right here is my favorite. So I thought I would love these stripes the most. So I put them on top because you won't see the bottom as much. But as I started knitting the bottom, I fell in love with it. Look how fun those are. The rust color, the pumpkin spice color, whatever you want to call it. And then this greenish, yellowish red. It has all 3 colors in it. And I love it. so much the way they're working up together. So I think I might swap them because I love them, these stripes, as much as I love these bottom stripes. So these are a lot of fun. I totally recommend the Halfsies Socks pattern. It's so much fun. I'll link, as always, I'll link all of the patterns and the designers and everything in the description below. And these are also on the website, on my website. I'll link that yarn below as well if you are interested in matching me and making my same socks. I'm planning on knitting my ribbing, my cuff, pretty thick, pretty tall, so that the sock is a little bit taller. Not quite so short, but I am so excited to have these. They're gonna be so cozy to wear around the house when it's super cold outside. Something that I've been working on a lot this week is this blanket. Look how fun! Now this isn't really a pattern. I mean, you can find free patterns, you can find paid patterns of this. It's just a metered square blanket. I think that's what you call it. So you knit you cast on a bunch of stitches, and then you knit back and forth and you decrease down the middle until it becomes a square. And then you cast on half as many stitches and you pick up stitches along here and you do the same thing. You just knit flat back and forth and decrease down the middle on the right side or the wrong side or whatever until it becomes a square, until you have 0 stitches left. And it's so much fun. These are the yarns from my first collection. And I love how they all look together. And I'm so glad that I kept some of that yarn for myself to knit a blanket. It's gonna be the perfect just little lap blanket. I might add one more block on the side here because I have an extra skein of this white picket fence. So I might add an extra block here, and then, because I weighed how much each square weighs, so I figure out how many squares I could do for the whole blanket. I did the math how to make it a rectangle and how to make that all work. But I think I'm gonna use that extra skein of the white picket fence, add 3 extra squares to it so that I can make less this shape and more this shape. Instead of super long and skinny, it'll be more square shaped. And either way, it fits perfectly across my lap with good drape on either side and then goes to the floor at my feet, which is perfect for just when I'm working at the computer or knitting, sitting on the TV, whatever. So I'm excited for this. It's squishy, it's garter stitch, good garter stitch blanket, and I've been enjoying this so much. It's so much fun to just do one little square at a time compared to the last blanket that I made, which was massive needles, thick chunky yarn, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth forever and ever and ever. Whereas this, you've always got something to do. You're always either decreasing or just knitting. And it's so mindless. I have the instructions totally memorized by now. And it's just so much fun to watch it come together and pick what color to do next. And just, it's so good. I love all of the colors together. I'm super excited. I think I'm also going to do an I-cord edging all the way around it in the white picket fence color. But we'll see, because I hate doing I-cord. But I think it's needed because the edge is not totally straight, and I think it would just make it look a lot more put together, and I think it needs an I-cord edge and it'll look great. We'll see if I ever get around to doing that, but I'm excited to have this as my own little memory for my very first collection. It's been very enjoyable to knit. Along the lines of that blanket, so I ordered myself a pack of DK weight yarn, and for the sole purpose of just messing around, because variegated yarn scares me. I don't knit with it a lot because I'm not a variegated sweater person. Variegated yarn can be beautiful. I just don't knit with it a lot, and so I'm not super familiar with looking at the yarn in the hank and knowing what it's going to knit up like. And so I wanted to really study variegated yarn and practice dyeing it and practice mixing colors and see what it looks like in the pan and then in the skein and the hank and then knit up. And so I got this 10 pack of yarn. I'm splitting them all up into 50 grams and I'm dyeing them all different colors. So I'll have 20 different colors. And I'm making myself another little metered square blanket. And here's what I have so far. Here's the first one that I did. I'm loving the way this one turned out. It looks so great. And if you want to, I'm videoing every single colorway. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. So far, I've succeeded. But we'll see how it goes, because the only time that I have to dye that and film is during my daughter's nap. So that's sacrificing a lot of knitting time because I gotta do it during the day when it's light and the good light. Anyways, so if you want to watch the videos of these being dyed, go to my Instagram so you can watch the reels of them dyeing and knit up and in the skein, so you can see how variegated yarn looks in the skein versus knit up, because I think that's good information to have, because variegated or hand-dyed yarn can be expensive, right? And so you want to make sure you know what you're getting. And a lot of the time, seeing a variegated skein in the hank, it looks pretty, but you don't know what it's going to look like once it's knit up. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm dyeing yarn up. I know what it looks like in the pan, and then I know what it looks like in the skein. And then I'm going to knit it up and see what's going on. So this one was very random dyed. I just squirted blue everywhere. I squirted yellow everywhere. And so there's no color pooling. It's knitting up nice and variegated. I think it looks great. And it just looks really good. This one I dyed like double use. So I put it in the pan and I poured yarn. I poured dye over the yarn like this, and then like this with the other color. And the colors mix together more this way because you're pouring colors over each other. So it still looks good. There's more purple than green, but some of the spots are kind of a gross browny, purpley green, which is okay. I think it knit up very pretty still, but I still prefer this technique over this technique. Because this way, the purple is totally overpowering the green. I could have just done less purple than green because the green is lighter than the purple. I could have just done less purple than green. But this way, I feel like I just have much more control with the technique I used here. But enough talk about that. You can go watch all of the reels and stuff and keep updated with that on my Instagram. But this is just how it's turning out. It's a lot of fun. Just mess around with dyeing and stuff. Here is the first color. So much fun. And here's the second color. I don't love this one as much, but it's still good. I still like it. It turned out a lot better than I thought it would. It looked gross in the pan, but it looks good now once it's knit up. So ever since I dyed the yarn for the last collection and I saw this brick colorway, this deep red, oh, it's so good. I love it so much. I have a sweater quantities. I mean, I hope it's enough. I can always dye more for a sweater. And I want it to become a broken rib quarter zip sweater, drop shoulder quarter zip sweater. So that's my plans. I swatched for it. I dyed up some Surrey lace so I could test the base, and I love the base. It's so soft. So I dyed up some Surrey lace in the same color. Surrey always dyes up a little bit lighter than the actual colorway. So here's the original color on a DK base, super wash. And this one is the Surrey. And so it's a little bit lighter, but I am holding them double, fingering weight with the Surrey. And this is my broken rib swatch that I made. This is blocked and everything. And it's pretty and it's soft and I love it, but I don't know that I love it for what I'm going for. I don't think the stitch definition is enough, obviously, because there's Surrey there. But I mean, I've seen other broken rib knits with Surrey or mohair, Surrey or mohair held with just a regular strand of yarn, fingering weight yarn. And it looks fantastic, but this is not that. And while I like it, I don't know if it's quite what I'm going for. I don't know if it's blurry or if that's just what it is because it's Surrey. But I'm considering swatching again with just fingering weight yarn, but I don't know if I want to knit a whole sweater and just fingering weight yarn right now. An all over texture fingering weight yarn right now, or sweater right now. So we'll see what happens. I love the sweater that's in my brain. I want it to happen. I want it to be a thing. I need to swatch and see how I feel about it, because once it's swatched and I see it, if I really absolutely love it, then it'll be easier to cast it on and have the desire to knit that up. But we'll see if that one happens. I might move on to different ideas right now, but anyways, I might even use the yarn for something totally different. Though I really want a red, this red, broken rib, drop shoulder, quarter zip sweater. So I don't know, we will see. I might have to use the mohair for something else. All right, that's everything for today. There's a lot of projects, but I think I did a decent job at just being brief and getting through them. I have a lot of ideas for sweaters in my brain. I'm excited to knit them up and work on them and share them with you all. My knitting plans for the year have changed a lot. I did a video like a month ago, 2 months ago, a couple weeks ago, I don't know, on my fall knitting plans, and it's totally different than what it was, because I started this sweater and it's turned out so good. I absolutely love it. And seeing the way my idea has turned into an actual sweater and how much I love it, like I love it way more than I thought I would. I feel much more confident to do that again in the future and to keep doing that and make what I want. And that's really fun, because I see all these sweater patterns online and I love them. There's so many fantastic patterns out there that I love and I want to create and wear for myself as well. But there's just something extra special about finding stitch patterns that you love and finding colorwork ideas that you love and finding like commercially made sweaters that you love, but there's no pattern for, but you want in 100% wool yarn and not acrylic yarn. And you want to make your own colors and have your own twist on it, and being able to do it. It's not as hard as you think it is to just wing it on a sweater. I mean, you do have to rip out a lot, but it's fun and I'm excited to do it. I feel more empowered to do it. And if you've been thinking about just winging it and making your own sweaters, like you have ideas for sweaters that don't exist as patterns but you want to make, just give it a shot. It's a lot of fun to just make your own things and be your own self, I guess. It's been a lot of fun to be creative in this way. When I first started knitting, and up until recently, crafts are creative, right? Like people say, I'm sorry, I'm playing with this because it's soft. So you might see it flinging around. But I didn't feel creative when I was knitting or doing like cross stitch or whatever, or spinning, because I'm being told what to do. It's not from my own brain. And like, sure, I'm picking the colors, but most of the time I just pick the same colors that the sample knits are in. And I'm just doing what the pattern tells me to do. So I don't feel creative. I just feel crafty, right? But now as I'm dyeing yarn and I'm making my own sweaters out of my own brain, I feel so much more creative, and it's such a fun experience. Such a great creative outlet, I guess, instead of just following instructions. And it's kind of fun to do what I want. And it's fun to kind of figure out what I like, because I think up until now, and I've used this analogy before, I don't know if I've used it here, but growing up, I had the same box of 12 crayons that everybody else had. We had the same 12 colors of Crayola crayons that we all colored with. And so we just used those 12 colors all the time in our coloring books. And sure, we got a little creative with what colors we used where, but like I never had the freedom to like really figure out what I like. And at this time in my life, I have like my own house that I get to paint. Before now, we've lived in apartments and rented and stuff, so we didn't get to paint and mess around and stuff. And we didn't really have the budget to mess around with our decor and our painting and renovating kitchens and stuff. And so like with my house and having fun decorating my house and dyeing yarn and coming up with my own sweaters and just being really creative has been so much fun for me. And I'm really figuring out what colors I love, what textures I love, what pairings of things that I love, and what moods and stories, I guess, color stories and things that I like. And it's just so much fun to play those things together and just mess around and do things that I never thought would look good together. Anyways, it's been a lot of fun. I've been really, really enjoying what I've been creating lately, and I don't know that I would have started trying to make my own patterns if I hadn't started a podcast, because I feel like deep in the knitting community right now, which I feel more empowered to just try new things. So I'm grateful for you all, especially because so many of you have like reached out and said that you love this sweater as well. And it's also encouraged me to keep going with it. And so anyways, thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support in watching the channel and commenting and subscribing, and all those things always mean the world to me. And I had to run and grab a new battery, so I don't know exactly where I ended that off. But long story short, I just appreciate you all for being here and encourage me to get out of my comfort zone and be creative and try new things, and for being here and supporting it all, and telling me what you like and helping me figure out what works better, because I utilize my stories a lot. I post on my stories and you all respond and you tell me what you think, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. It makes my day whenever somebody responds to my story. Like the other day, for example, I posted my sweater to the story. I was like, I feel like I need a little bit more color work on the sweater, like I explained earlier. And somebody responded and they were like, yeah, I agree. You need a little bit more color work on the sweater. You need to lengthen it or something. And I was so happy to hear somebody like invested enough to comment and be like, yep, I agree. You need a little more there. And it's just so nice to interact with you all and talk back and forth and share ideas and get feedback and comments and stuff like that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all of the things. I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.